Hey, how's it going, guys? Oh, Christian, how's it going? Wow. Welcome back to the Highly Taken podcast. I am David, back at you again from gloomy Tallahassee, Florida.
Christian, back at you from a sunny Elkton, Maryland.
Interesting. Nick, back at you. Gloomy Jacksonville. I guess we're starting that. Guys, I guess we'll get right into it, right? Dubs and Chugs results. David, you did pretty good.
Wait, so because I was out of town, I went to Indiana to see some friends this past weekend. What did you do for my picks? How did this work? Was there like a random number generator or what?
Listen, no. I picked one. He picked one. I picked as accurate as what I thought that you would choose. I picked Penn State. I figured you wanted Penn State. So obviously they lost. I also picked Baltimore over the Browns. I figured you probably wanted Baltimore that game.
Probably would have picked Baltimore.
So, and I think we did pretty good. But coming in first place was Christian. Christian got first with 6. And a tie for last place was you and I. We both had 5.
So what was my tiebreaker?
So yeah, Washington, and I don't know how accurate you would have done this, but I picked you, and we did Washington versus Utah. I picked Washington for you to beat Utah 32-20. I thought that was a pretty accurate score for you. I picked Washington to win 28-24. So I think technically speaking, I got it closest. So I think I won.
Okay. To be fair, by default, I should be drinking anyway because I should really be a D&Q or DNF or whatever. But I'll go downstairs and get my drink. Hold on. You guys can talk about something. I didn't think I'd be drinking at 3 o'clock.
What did I call for my tiebreaker, Nick? What was my score?
Washington 38, Utah 17.
Okay.
Final score was 35-28. So I think I was the closest through all of it.
Oh man, because you said David took it 32 to what?
20.
And you took it 28-24?
Yeah.
He was closer to the Washington score than you were.
Yeah, but I was closer to the spread.
Well, this isn't Vegas, buddy. Okay, this is the Highly Taken podcast.
Vegas has a lot to do with this because correct me if I'm wrong, don't we have a segment called Christian's Payday Parlay?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Christian just cash it out on $450?
He did. I mean, come on. I had a little bit to something to do with it. We talked about it the night before. We came together. We thought Kyler was getting a rushing touchdown.
You agreed with me that I thought
Kyler did. No, I had a feeling he would. I mean, you can't see him coming out of that pocket. Of course, he's going to get a rushing touchdown. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
It was great.
Dude, don't tell me those are the same ones from when we were in Florida.
I plead the 5th.
That was a while ago. But yeah, kudos to Christian. He is the closest one. The Penn State-Michigan game really, really killed me. I would have tied you. I should have listened, but I took the Pats to beat the Colts. David, I gave you the Colts. Christian gave you the Colts. He gave you the Colts.
I would pick the Colts anyway.
Yeah. But hey, we'll get into it from there. I forgot to tell you, we also picked your awards halfway through the season. We said that you would take Stroud as your offensive rookie of the year, and you would take I believe Carter as your defensive rookie of the year. I think we both agreed that you wouldn't agree with any of the quarterbacks that are on talks with awards to get it for the MVP. We all thought AJ Brown or Tyreek, but now I'm thinking CJ Stroud might get rookie of the year and MVP from what he performed this. I mean, that dude is going insane right now. It's incredible what he's doing.
Yeah, he went for 400 plus pass yards just a week ago and then follows it up this week with, 370 plus. I mean, the guy is playing out of his mind right now. I feel like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like for me, man, we haven't seen that, man, in a long time out of a rookie quarterback. I feel like, I said this in the chat. I seen something on Instagram that said CJ Stroud is doing everything we thought Trevor Lawrence was going to do as a rookie. And I feel like that is so true, right? The hype behind Lawrence coming out into the NFL was humongous. And then Stroud, the biggest thing for Stroud coming out was probably his IQ. Everyone was like, dude, this guy was a horrible test taker, can't do anything. He comes out, he goes, yeah, well, I don't take tests, I play football.
Maybe it was for a reason. Maybe he didn't want to go to Carolina.
Maybe somebody was making fun of how stupid he was during the preseason draft. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but yeah, I agree. Completely unprecedented for a rookie to come in and put up these kind of numbers, especially because he doesn't really have a true one. And just one, D'Amico Ryans, I feel like he maybe should be in talk of Coach of the Year as well. I mean, he has a team who I thought wasn't even going to sniff the playoffs, possibly winning that division this year with how Jacksonville is playing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that, David, because we said that your Coach of the Year would be D'Amico Ryans. And we also said this. Dan Campbell. I think it's between those two right now, and we discussed this, and I kind of think you might be in agreement. Whoever makes the playoffs between those two is probably going to get the Coach of the Year, in my opinion, and I think Christian's opinion too.
Yeah, and I was talking to Christian about it. I think
just talking to Christian.
If for Stroud to win the MVP this year, he's going to have to make the playoffs and keep up his pace. I think if he makes the playoffs, I feel like it should be even with how good Brown and how good Hill are, who both may surpass 2,000 receiving yards, which is absolutely insane. I think they would give it to Stroud just because he has been. I mean, he's been making all his receivers look like amazing receivers, and even Nico Collins was out last game. Even without Nico Collins, he was able to do what he did with Tank Dell, with Schultz, with I forget his name, Brown. Yeah.
Hey, don't forget. I will say, Bills, I think you let the wrong running back go. Devin Singletary has been playing very, very good football, and he's been edging Damian Pierce out, and he's good. Pierce is good. I was waiting for that. Pierce is good. So, I mean, I think all around that offense is just firing on all cylinders right now. Please, for the love of God, can we please get that with the Eagles? We need that. We need that so desperately. But they're good. I mean, they might be the number one offense in the league right now.
I think if they are truly just like maybe a good pass rush away from being a Super Bowl contender, literally just a pass rush away from being a Super Bowl contender, because that team looks good right now.
Could you imagine if the number one receiver on CJ Stroud's offense with that?
Dude, thinking about this.
Number
TJ
one
Watt goes to Houston.
Get the hell out of here.
No way. The Steelers would have to, like, I don't know what you'd get to do that. There's no way they'd be able to get rid of TJ.
So, I mean, we might as well talk about some wins and losses of the week. Whew. The Niners absolutely demolished the Jags. And I had a feeling it was going to happen. I mean, now you have Bosa and Young. The Jags really don't have a great offensive line, and it showed. It showed. Lawrence looked like he was a deer in the headlights the entire game. Niners absolutely took it to the Jags this week, 34-3. I mean, it was like the Jags didn't know how to run an offense, and they had a whole week to prepare. So, in my opinion, that's not an excuse for you to go out there and not get a single touchdown. But, man, the Vikings, man, Josh Dobbs. I mean, I feel like there's so much that went on this week, dude. Josh Dobbs balled out. I mean, absolutely incredible. Probably, besides Stroud, I would say he would be the player of the week. I mean, you go into an offense, you don't even know the offense fully, and you still go out there and ball out, and you don't have JJ. Man, I mean, that's dangerous. That is dangerous.
I hate to be this guy because it's going to make me throw up, but you got to give the credit where credit's due. If you want to talk about outside of, honestly, dude, Stroud had 3 turnovers. So realistically, you want to talk about the best QB play this week? It was Dak. It was Dak. 400 plus yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, it was against a crappy Giants team. I understand that, but given the credit where the credit is, Dak was the best QB.
In my opinion, with the Giants now, I think they're tanking. They might as well. There's no reason for them to do anything. They might as well just tank and get something valuable. Probably get another quarterback. I don't know, like Daniel Jones. That's what they tend to do with their great picks that they have early on in the first round. Yeah, you have to give credit to Dak, but they threw all over him. It was really a shame. Tony Pollard. I mean, he looked great last year. Maybe it was because he was playing for some sort of contract to be the number one, and now he feels safe at that number one spot, and he's just not performing. I don't know. With that offensive line, you should perform. You should.
I don't necessarily think it's that when you're coming down to Pollard. I think Pollard is a great number 2 back, and I don't think he's your 1 back. And I think that is kind of what we saw. Like last year when Ezekiel Elliott wasn't getting the ball on the run, chances are Pollard was getting it on the pass. And he was a great pass catcher last year, more than he was a runner. And that's kind of what I would, I hope they continue to miss it, but that's what Dallas is, I think, missing is they don't have a power back. Pollard is not a power back. And so it takes away from all the usage, I guess I would say you could get with him. You bring out a power back and they're thinking, okay, we're going to run it here. And then you bring out Pollard and they're thinking, okay, maybe they're going to pass it. And then you hand it off to Pollard. They're not expecting a run play, or you throw it in the pass. He's good in the pass game. So I think it's just killing him that he doesn't have a guy in front of him.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the season when we were talking about this Dallas team was, what are they going to do when they get down to those short goal line positions without Ezekiel Elliott? Tony Pollard is not a good goal line back, and we saw that against the Eagles. They couldn't rely against any type of run play when they got within the 5 yards because they didn't have a power back. So they had to do these short passes. And, when a defensive line and when the corners are playing press, and when your linebackers are playing press, and you have to really rely on hopefully getting 3 yards on a pass play, it's really hard to pass on the goal line situation. You only get 15 yards really once you're within the 5 yard line to play with. And you saw that with the Dallas Eagles game. They had to throw short. They were short on 4th and 1, didn't get it. They got to the 2-point conversion with Dak. Instead of running the ball, they tried to swing it out. Obviously, Dak tried to run for it, stepped out of bounds. But I mean, the biggest thing is, what are they going to be able to do in these goal line positions? And you're going to start playing good defenses. You're not going to be able to rely on getting the ball in the end zone with these 20, 15-yard plays. You're going to have to be able to run the ball. And with the Dallas running backs, I don't see that. So I don't know if it's Tony Pollard not being able to produce as more. Maybe, like you said, maybe he came in and they were just tired of tackling Dak, so he got like the second wind and he was able to maybe put into better positions. But I don't know. I think they need to figure out, hopefully they don't, but they need to figure out how to get better in goal line situations with Tony Pollard.
Yeah. The thing that, man, Dallas has such a cakewalk of a schedule. It's not even funny. I mean, their toughest opponent going forward is
the Eagles.
You got the Eagles, obviously, Buffalo? But that's in Dallas. They play Buffalo, the Dolphins, and I don't know if the Dolphins are going to show up against that team, that defense, and then they have Seattle. The rest of them are pretty much
all the Bills a good team anymore.
We'll get into that just a second, but I gotta say, man, Browns, are they winning that North?
Dude, that division is insane, bro.
They're knocking each other around.
They really are. I think it's crazy, man. When you go and look at the losses for the Ravens, I believe it's the Colts, the Steelers, and the Browns. So you take away, I mean, even if you can figure out a way you give that Colts game back, dude, that division, like you said, man, they're beating each other up. Like those games, man, I love watching those games at this point. I don't know if either of you guys watched the Ravens. Dude, it was so entertaining. 2 pick sixes, 2 blocked field goals. Points on, dude, the Browns came back from a 17-0 deficit and then a 31-17 deficit. I mean, you can't make that stuff up. I think it's great. I think it's great for that division in itself. It really keeps the competition real big in there. And I also think that's where one of, like, when talking division and division rivalries, that's where I feel as though some of the hardest division rivalries are in. You know what I mean? So I like to be able to see that in-division competition stay real tough and be good games. I don't want to see a low-scoring game or, a 9-6 game. I like to see the back-and-forth battles. I like to see them both competing. And at the end of the day, you really could see the Super Bowl contender for the AFC come out of the AFC East.
What's crazy about that is Browns 6-3, Steelers 6-3, Ravens 7-3, and the Bengals are 5-4, and they're in last place. It's crazy. But what's surprising me more than anything, in my opinion, is that AFC South. You're looking at Jags are only a game above the Texans right now. Anything can happen. Hopefully it doesn't. We would like to see the Jags go back, but I'm starting to think Texans, man, they're 5-4 right now. They found their rhythm on offense. Everything's looking good for them. I like to see them come out and take that division, but like David said, they need that front line to produce in order for that to happen. But we'll see, man. We'll see. David, you got any surprises of the week that you're thinking?
Yeah, I think, the surprise really is the Bengals still being in last place. Truthfully, I still think they're my favorite to win that division. I mean, that division is they're only a game back when you think about it. The division is so close, and I think they're the better team out there still. With surprises of the week, still a blowout loss to the Niners and the Jaguars. I thought it was going to be a close game, but really it truly comes down to what's been happening to the Jaguars all season, and that's just been the offense not being able to produce as well. I thought, with adding Calvin Ridley, you have Zay Jones, who right now got arrested. You have Evan Ingram, you have Etienne, you have a lot of players on the offense that are really good. And I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it's that offensive line, but something's not clicking there that should be clicking. I don't know what it is, but you are now in a situation where you were supposed to be the odds-in winner for that division. No one's supposed to touch you. The Titans didn't have a quarterback. The Colts. The Colts will have Anthony Richardson. They're rebuilding, and then Texans again. They're rebuilding. 3 teams with rookie quarterbacks now. And now you're looking like, oh, wait, are the Texans going to win this division? It's not even a small shot to say maybe that a team like the Titans or the Colts are going to come in and try to win this division with how the Jaguars are playing. So right now, I think something needs to be figured out. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's just the offense not producing like it should be. And then I have another thing we'll talk about. I think I can switch over to now. It will be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of me personally have a lot of negative things to say. I think Josh Allen is now the most overrated quarterback in football. I think the Bills might be the most overrated team in football. 2 costly interceptions that, Josh Allen is good for. It feels like every damn game. Leads the league in interceptions. Yeah, he also leads the league in amount of touchdowns. But dude, if you go and look at it, man, how many of those touchdowns come within 3 and 4 games? He either balls out amazingly in one game. You take that Miami game where they put up 47 points and took a crap on Miami. But then you come back, let's go to the Giants game where you win that game when you shouldn't have won that game, but you did win that game, and you won it by only putting up 13 points, right? You go down to last night, you just got embarrassed by the Broncos in your own home stadium. Everybody's been making fun of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson cooked on you, bro.
That pass in the end zone to Sutton. You couldn't have thrown a better ball. And I was falling back, and he threw that. My takeaway on Josh Allen is the Bills knew what they were getting with Josh Allen. He's a risk-reward quarterback. He's going to try to make these plays. Sometimes they look amazing. Other times they look absolutely dumb. In this game, he looked absolutely dumb. Other games, like you said, where he's having 4 touchdowns a game, he looks fantastic because it's a risk reward that they have. They know what he does. My thing, the way I take from all of this is I don't think they're using him to his ability. I don't think he's running enough. I don't think he's cooking them with his feet enough. He had 4 attempts for 13 yards. That's not going to get it done. He was getting 7 to 40, 50 yards. They're not using him to the ability that I think they should. I also think they're not using their offense correctly. And I think firing their OC was the best thing for them with that. When you take out Diggs, obviously you have Kincaid that's going off and playing a very good rookie year. But other than that, you're not getting Davis involved. He's a very good number 2 receiver. Diggs is the only one that really they're going to, and you can shut down a running back by double covering. A wide receiver by double covering him. So I think they're one-dimensional right now. And I think teams realize that they're one-dimensional, and they know that Josh Allen's going to take those shots downfield, and they're making them pay for it.
Yeah, I think that goes back to kind of what we talked about earlier on in the year when we said it's gonna come down and kill Buffalo. Buffalo doesn't have a running back, right? I mean, they just went out and they signed Fournette. You could say they got James Cook. James Cook had 2 fumbles last night. One of them on the very first play of the damn game, right? And I mean, like, there's no reason for a team to respect the run game because your biggest threat as a runner is Josh Allen. And as you just said, he ran 4 times for 13 yards last night. So now you know this guy's not running the ball either. He's just going to throw. So, yeah, these teams are fully one-dimensional. All they do is throw. They throw. And because there's no running back, there's not even like elite. There's not even a decent running back there that they can be like, okay, we're going to give you, 20, 35% of the carries here or 35% of the workload so we can take something off of Allen. They don't have that. And that has been killing them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I was saying maybe it came back to a couple weeks ago. I was talking about how, maybe all these turnovers because of how much they use Josh Allen, how much he's having to throw the ball, how much he's having to be used because they don't have really other weapons between him and Stephon. But also the picks I saw last night, one very unlucky. The one was a tip. Let's be honest. One should have been caught.
Yep.
The second one was absolutely. I don't understand how you throw that pick, just being that high caliber as a quarterback. He threw a ball and underthrew his receiver at their own 30-yard line. Again, that comes down to a very crucial field goal, which ends up you win off that field goal. Now, obviously, the game was decided because of a terrible 12 men on the field. I don't know how. I don't know how you get 12 men on the field on special teams. You just walk out there. You're like. Kick block. Go out there. I don't understand how a 12th man gets on kick block. I don't understand.
You know why, right? Because the Broncos made their substitutions and they never gave the Bills a chance to make their full substitution. You're allowed to make a substitution and they didn't. But I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been ready. Obviously, once they kneel the ball, you know what's coming. They're going to try to kick a field goal. You need to hustle off and get off the field. You got caught. And unfortunately, it happened to them. It sucks. It's a terrible, terrible thing to happen. But that's on the coach, too, for not having them ready to get off the field. So whether the refs didn't give them enough time to get off the field or not, that is on the coach for not having them ready to run off the field. Worst case scenario, if you don't have time, just stay on the field and finish it out. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. They just looked like they were scrambling. They didn't know what to do. And that's on the coach.
Even if you want to sit here and say, oh, the refs shouldn't have given them more time, every single one of those linemen were down and ready. They were all set. They were all ready. You know what I mean? Like, they were all ready for that field goal right then and there. So that is 100% a coaching mistake than it is a ref mistake. If everybody was already down and set and you had your 12th guy back there, to be like that extra guy that stands behind the freaking line, dude, you had your team out there. You put your team out. You know what I mean? Like, that's on your coach. That's not on the refs. If you all got out there, had time to get set, and you didn't even realize for a second that one of you shouldn't be on there, one of you needs to be hustling back to the sideline, that is on your coach. You can't even blame a ref for that.
And let's give credit where credit is due. The Broncos have won back-to-back pretty good games. They beat the Chiefs and the Bills on back-to-back games. And so, and away games, may I add, I'm pretty sure it was in Arrowhead, and it was, unless they played in Denver, but I'm pretty sure it was in Arrowhead last week.
Denver, Chiefs beat Denver in Denver, and then Denver went out.
So they won back-to-back away games against two teams who are, Super Bowl contenders. I mean, now that we're talking about the Bills, but the Broncos aren't looking too bad. Now, I don't think they have any chance of making the playoffs. But there is some room there to discuss and how well they're doing this year. But is there any other kind of surprises you guys have?
The Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders, man.
Raiders without a head coach. They're getting it done.
Well, dude,
a rookie quarterback too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I even saw, but the interim head coach came out like after the game, and they were like, "Why are you throwing the ball to Devontae Adams so much?" And he was like, why wouldn't we throw the ball to Devontae Adams so much? Like, are you an idiot? Like, that's who gets the ball. And, like, I feel like that McDaniels was, like, missing, dude. Like, there were games where Devontae Adams would go with just 2 targets. And in my head, I'm thinking, man, this is your offense. Like, this is this is the number one guy. Like, it's not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not Josh Jacobs. It's Devontae Adams, right? Devontae Adams is an amazing route runner, amazing receiver, great hands, great size. Dude, you got to give him chances. And now, you get this interim head coach and you get the rookie, and the rookie, I'm sure he's thinking in the back of his head, shit, Adams is down there somewhere. And here he is slinging the rock out to Adams. I'm sure Adams is absolutely loving it. Raiders have now won 2 in a row. Are we starting to get things on the right path here for the Raiders? I mean, what are we really thinking?
I mean, listen, to be fair, one, Chiefs are going to win that division, right?
Yeah, there's no.
2, they're not going to get a wild card spot right now. I don't even think the Bills are going to get a wild card spot based on what I'm seeing. The only hope that the Bills and Raiders have is that the AFC North is just going to beat them up, and they're all going to end up with, let's say 9-8 record, something like that, and then somehow they come in and they're able to make it happen. Unfortunately, I think I'm with David right now, depending on what's happening. I think you're going to see all the wild cards go to the AFC North. I mean, in my opinion, they're the better team, the better division right now. I just don't see anyone else really hurting that division on what I'm seeing top to bottom. It just sucks. I would hate to be a fan of any of those teams in that division because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's crazy.
I will say one thing, too. I think it's very interesting about that division is 2 of those teams are doing this without a quarterback or like without real quarterback play. When you think Cleveland and Deshaun Watson has not looked good. The whole first half of that. Now, he looked decent in the second half after starting 3 for 12, in the freaking first half. But Watson has not looked good. And Kenny Pickett has looked horrible. But
I don't blame Kenny Pickett.
Okay,
they play a different style offense in that fourth quarter, and he's one of the better quarterbacks in that fourth quarter statistically. Canada needs to go. He's holding that offense back. He's way too much of a run-heavy coach, and it's hurting that team tremendously. When you're having 3rd and 7s constantly, the percentage it's against you. It's against you to make those long 3rd down conversions. And Kenny Pickett, we see it. He's a very good quarterback and throwing the ball within, 5 to 10 yards. Can he throw it deep? Sure. But I think their biggest issue is they're not getting Pickens involved, and they need to.
Yeah, I think they need to start being able to be more okay with dialing up deep shots for Pickens. And, I mean, we've seen it, I feel like all of last year, and we've seen it a couple times so far this year. The guy makes insane acrobatic catches. He can turn his body whichever way he needs to adjust the ball and make the catch. So, yeah, I feel like it definitely does come down to play calling. You need to be able to pull the trigger some more here. You need to be able to make these throws. But at the same time, coming into the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, man, Kenny Pickett, dude, he just didn't look that great. Yeah, he can get you that game done in the fourth quarter. I said in one of the podcasts a couple weeks ago that he has the most fourth quarter game-winning drives or overtime game-winning drives since entering the league. But when you don't have that consistency through 3 quarters, you don't have that playbook to open up in full. So if this guy's good for 2 to 3 picks in the first 3 quarters, it's hard to open up that playbook.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough. They have the talent for it. They really do. I don't know why Matt Canada is doing what he is. You have Allen Robinson, you have Deontay Johnson, you have Kenny Pickens. Sorry, Kenny Pickens. You have Pickens, not Kenny Pickens. We have Pickens. That's a good team. That's a good receiver core. I don't know. They have Freiermuth, who's a really good tight end as well.
And dude, they have 1-2 running back tandem.
If Najee starts producing more, but maybe it's just they just don't have the offensive line like they used to. That's one big thing. They used to have probably the best offensive line in the league.
If I was Tomlin, I would every week go and look at game film, see what the difference is in the fourth quarter compared to the other 3 quarters, and seeing what they're doing, because those are the adjustments you need to make in the other quarters. And if it doesn't work, then screw it. I mean, at least you're trying to change it up a little bit. Right. This running the ball, 70% of the time is just ridiculous. You can't be doing that. If you're not in this league, you have to be able to throw the ball. You have to. Like I said, the 3rd and longs are what killing them early on in the game. I don't know. It's going to be tough. it's hard for them to take this division. They could, but you never know. Yeah. How about Kyler coming back? First game.
Honestly surprised. Call of Duty dropped this past week. I'm really surprised that he had a decent game this week.
I thought he was going to be hurt. I thought something was going to happen at practice. He was going to be hurt, and he'd be playing Call of Duty some more. So I'm happy he's out there.
I feel like we're mentioning the wrong person. Trey McBride, what a game, buddy! What
Balled
a
out.
Yeah.
Okay, all out over there, my man. Fun and games for all here.
Oh, all right. David's back at us in the bathroom, so we'll finish it up here. Deflated baller of the week, Christian. Certified baller of the week. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, certified baller of the week. It's not gonna be hard for me, in my opinion. It's just gonna be my boy, the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs. Absolutely went out there, balled out against the Saints. I feel like when you're talking, as a better, like who played the best this week, you could give it to someone like Dak. You could give it to a different, like CJ Stroud, who played well, but no, man, I just feel like, dude, when you really take a look at it, though, like this guy has now had 2 weeks to really only a week to get to know his team and all of his players. And look what he's doing with it. He's playing great. He's doing great. He's making great throws, making great reads. He's running around in that pocket, scrambling, making the plays with his legs. So for me, I don't think it's going to be much of a question when you do it with that little bit of time frame and that little bit of knowledge of the team and the playbook. It's going to have to be Josh Dobbs for me.
No, that's a really good choice. I agree. But if I'm going to give it to somebody this week, I'm going to give it to Tyrese Maxey. I think that you absolutely ball out. You get to put up a 50 burger. That offense is looking great without James Harden. You're undefeated without James Harden on the team after the trade. And honestly, I'm really surprised, and I'm glad that the pick and roll is working. Him and Embiid are an amazing tandem. They're getting the ball passed around. You put 50 up, you shoot 7 for 11 from 3. So that's why he's going to be my certified baller of the week.
Yeah, that's a good one. Man, I like both of those, and I'd go with both of them. I don't really do this. I'll just put an honorable mention out there. CJ Stroud, to continue what he was doing and develop more into it, and to do it without your quote-unquote number one receiver. It's just incredible. And you do it to a team that really was a Super Bowl contender and favored to go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. Looked great. Everything was fantastic. I mean, you have to give it to him. Deflated baller. Christian, you want to go first?
Yeah, because I think all of us have the same one. Mine's going to be Josh Allen without a question of doubt in my mind. Josh Allen, you suck. You're the most overrated quarterback in all of football. Go F yourself.
I mean, yeah, I would say Josh Allen was what I'm thinking about, but how about I'm just going to stay with basketball, James Harden. You're sitting there talking all the trash you are talking. You still haven't scored a game over 17 points this game, and you haven't won a single game with your new team after forcing yourself out of Philadelphia. Like I said, Philadelphia's undefeated without him. I mean, sounds like somebody, like always, was the problem and wasn't the team. So it's going to be
issue. Yeah. I like those. I wasn't going to go with Josh Allen. I wasn't going to go with Harden. Mine is the Jags offense entirely. You're supposed to be the favorite in that division. You're supposed to be a good team this year. And you go up there and don't put a single touchdown on the board at home. And you had an extra week to prepare for this team. And to do what they did is just uncalled for. It was poor coaching all around the board. Everything looked awful. So I have to give it to the Jags. There's no way I can not.
Yeah, I understand that for sure.
So I feel like there's something else we had to bring up, right?
I feel like we are missing something, boys. And you know what? I think it's I don't know. It's not Friday, so it's actually not my payday parlay. So I don't know. What are we missing?
It's funny. Did anybody make a bet the past weekend?
Oh, yeah, Christians. What was it?
Oh, I said we would have a 200-plus yard receiver.
Did we have a 200-plus yard receiver?
Wait, no. I said we'd have a 500-plus yard passer, and we didn't.
We did not. You were close. But no, we did not. So you definitely did not get that. I don't know what we do for you since we were ill prepared for this. It's a shame you don't have jelly beans because I would love to make you have to eat that. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, you have some basketball going on. How about Ant for the Wolves? How about that, dude? Dude's
How about
balling out.
how about we really take a look into the problem of that, and let's say I think Draymond Green's holding the Warriors back now, man. At this point,
I honestly think it's Klay Thompson that's holding the Warriors back right now. You used to be able to rely on him for a good chunk of scoring and some defense. I don't know if it's still true or not, but I think at one point in the season, nobody had scored over 20 points in the game except for Stephen Curry. That may be true. I don't think anything's switched since then. But I mean, you have players on your team like Draymond, you have Andrew Wiggins, you have Klay Thompson. You got none of them scoring over 20 points, and you're having to drag a corpse of what was supposed to be, a championship contending team. So it makes you wonder what the issue is. They're aging. I think that what it comes down to. They're aging, and I think you need to look at Draymond and Klay. Wouldn't be surprised if they're gone by the trade deadline.
I think the biggest mistake the Warriors made was keeping Dre and sending out Poole. I think it should have been flip flopped. I think you should have kept Poole and sent out Dre.
No, I agree with that. I think as much as Poole took shots away from Curry, Dre's getting old, and I don't think they got enough for Poole. And then what they go do and replace him, they replace him with an aging Chris Paul. And really, I mean, the team looks okay. It's just Curry's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And like you said, Anthony Edwards, him and Cat are looking good. And I told you guys that, right now, I would put money down that they'd win the finals this year.
Well, I already put money down on a parlay that the Sixers would win the finals, the Eagles would win the Super Bowl, and the Knights would win the Stanley Cup.
That's solid. How much is a bet parlay?
$1 into 1,700.
Let's go.
Not bad.
No, it's not. I mean, I want to kind of touch on it too. I think we all three kind of called our rookies of the year for MLB. Obviously, kudos to Corbin Carroll. Christian loves it. Winning the NL MVP. NL Rookie of the Year. I think he deserved it. And also, Gunnar Henderson with the Orioles. I mean, I feel like both of them are well deserved. I think they did a good job on picking that. The only thing that I really didn't like of all of this is Silver Slugger going to Harper as the DH. And in my opinion, if anyone on that team deserved any type of Silver Slugger award, it was Casty. Casty had a phenomenal year. He deserved it. He didn't get it. And, it's kind of hard because you have a lot of players that deserving in that outfield on other teams. But I feel like he should have at least been mentioned in this somehow.
Yeah. And it's just like the All-Star break, man, when Casty was just completely outvoted by everybody when he was clearly at the point in time the better player in every statistic point,
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But also while we're at it, what are we thinking landing spots for Shohei?
I'm hearing, dude, for some reason, I'm hearing a lot of talk about the Cubs.
Interesting. Why would the Cubs take him?
Great question. Why I said for some reason. I have no clue why the Cubs would take him, but I'm hearing a lot of talk about the Cubs.
Would he put the Cubs over the top? I mean, they're a team that you could argue should have been a playoff team last year, and they kind of choked that there at the end of the season. They have a good pitching rotation. Now, obviously, Shohei can't pitch next year. That's the big thing that people understand is Shohei can't pitch next year. He'll be only batting next year. Where do I see him landing? That's so tough. I do think the Cubs is not a bad, option to put him. Oh man, it's hard to say it's hard not Angels. It's hard to say the Dodgers. It's hard not to say the Dodgers. It's hard not to say the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees will get him. Truthfully,
San Diego.
That's what I was gonna say. I could see him going to San Diego and Blake Snell going elsewhere.
Yep.
And I can also see a Juan Soto trade there to just to clear up some more room to be able to land him. So
Yep.
I think San Diego is probably my best bet of where he would go.
That's fair. I could see it. Not sure if they're going to be wanting to spend a lot of money so far. Someone must be wiping. Not sure if he wants to spend. They want to spend a lot of money since, unfortunately, RIP their owner. So I'm not sure what they're going to go on their franchise. If they're going to just keep it within the family, if they're going to sell it. So I'm not sure what's going to go on with them. I could see them possibly doing that. And trying to make a run for it. But with him not being able to pitch, he's an amazing batter. I mean, one of the best, if not the best. It's tough without him pitching for them to really go anywhere because they need pitching too. I mean, they can't just rely on just hitting. We saw it with us. I mean, granted, our hitting's the reason why we weren't able to do anything later on with the Phillies. But it's just hard to really rely on that. It's going to be interesting off season. I'm intrigued. I'm also hearing talks of Mike Trout might get traded, and LA might just start a whole rebuild over there. I also heard Phillies are in talks of trading Casty. So who knows? I would hate to see Casty go.
Phillies aren't in talk about Casty anymore. They already came out and said Casty's not being traded, and they view him as a valuable piece to the team.
He is. I would look at Schwarber before anyone else. You're not going to get a whole lot for Schwarber because he's all or nothing.
I'm going to be honest. I know for a lot of Philly fans, the speculation is maybe we could get the trade for Mike Trout to get him into Philadelphia. I will say, though, if you do somehow make that trade come to life, I think you're going to lose Alec Boehm in the process of it. I really do. I think that's going to be one of the key young guys that are going to have to be given up along with Rojas, which I'm okay with Rojas going, but Boehm's a big name there in the Phillies. But when you look at the Angels, and they're going to be a team that's going to be looking to rebuild. So they're going to want cheaper, younger guys. You know what I mean? So if you're the Phillies, I feel like, it's one thing I keep hearing for Philadelphia, fans is, let's get Trout. You just got to make sure that you're okay with giving up who you're going to have to give up because you're not going to be you're not going to be able to be like, we'll give you Rojas and 4 of our minor leaguers. And it's not going to work. You're going to need to give up somebody else.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. I like Boehm so much. I really do. I would hate to get rid of him. If they were to get rid of him, at least I'd have some sort of, at least we have Sosa. We didn't get to see Sosa that much this past year. I feel like Sosa really well. It's just the offense was already so well without him that they just shove him in because he's there. So maybe if they do trade Boehm, maybe we have Sosa there. I would hate to see Boehm go. I think his defense has gotten so well since
he's gotten better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think would I want Trout in as good as Trout is, I would say no. I like Trout. Trout's one of my favorite players.
Insane.
Dude, okay, but you're looking at a guy who for some reason can only play half a season now. Like I said, he's this generation's Ken Griffey Jr. When he's playing so well, but he isn't playing that much. So why would you get rid of all these people if he's not playing as much as he is? I mean, he's also getting up there in age as well.
If you can figure out a way to send out Schwarber in that trade, Trout's now your DH. And that batting lineup is so deep in depth that he doesn't need to play every game. You can give him his 1 or 2 rest games every week or 2 if you need to. But then you come around to the playoff time so that way you can keep that health and maintain that health. Dude, that is a humongous bat to have in that lineup.
If he's healthy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's not gonna play center field either. He's gonna be the left fielder, and way better defense than Schwarber in left field. I think, and I agree.
Dude, push Marsh over to left field if we get Trout and Trout comes to play on the defense, dude. Trout's gonna be in center field.
He doesn't have to be though. That's what I'm trying to say. He doesn't have to be. Marsh can play center. Marsh can play center field. No problem. I just don't.
Marsh like Trout in center field. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Trout. I mean, he's a Philly native. I mean, he loves Philadelphia. Probably has more passion than most of your Philly natives, in my opinion. I would love to see it. It's just that's a lot to give up. But I would give up Bohm. I would give up Bohm, and I would give up Rojas and Schwarber to have Trout on our team. I would in a heartbeat. I love Bohm. He's been great third baseman. We've seen him develop into what he is now. But to have a chance of having a guy come play for his team he rooted for, to have that passion for a team, that's second to none. That's something that you want. You're getting another Harper that's going to have that passion and that desire to get a World Series brought back to Philly. So I think based off of that, it's enough for me to ship those 3 players over to get him. Now, the real question is getting the pitching. We need the pitching. So we'll see. But guys, we'll end it there.
One question left. I got one question left. So you said pitching. Who would be the pitcher you want the Phillies to bring in?
We're talking bullpen. I don't know, but we're talking starting pitching. I want Nola back, and if we can't get Nola, at least try to get Snell or Sonny Gray. If we can't get Nola, I don't think we can get Snell. I think it's that simple. I think Snell is probably worth more than Nola is. So you're gonna have to hope that if you can't get one of those two, that you can still end up getting Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
Nick.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things that, that's that Nola. I don't want Nola to leave. He's been in Philly for years now. He was our number 1 pitcher for the longest time. I hate to see him go, but it might be another situation that we have with Cole Hamels. You might not be able to afford him and pay that contract that he wants. So then I kind of look for them to try to make a trade to get a starting pitcher, man. Maybe Alcantara. Who knows? I don't.
The Phillies are gonna go ahead. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think they're going to. But if I was the Phillies, yeah, you know what you're saying. Like you get a lot of money you're gonna have to pay for Nola. If you're not willing to pay the money for Nola, chances are you're not gonna have the money to pay to Snell. I think on a cheaper deal though, and you can get him, and I think he's still an ace, dude. I would love to see Trevor Bauer come to Philly. I really would.
Yeah. I think he's a great pitcher still too. Now that all this stuff is cleared up, that from what I've seen, I really hope he gets back in the league. I hate that
you're gonna get him cheap. You're gonna get him cheap. He wants to play. I like that, Christian. Good call there. With him being so cheap, I don't see why you wouldn't take a chance and try to sign him. He's gonna get multiple offers. I don't think he's going to go to the Dodgers because of the way they handled it. No way. And they would pay him money, but why not? Why not?
He's 2 year removed from a Cy Young year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He solo carried that Reds team to a playoffs.
Yeah. So
it'll be interesting. It's like I said, it's going to be a very interesting off season. And what's sad is I think the Braves are going to think that they're going to be able to keep the same team and make it as far as they did. And I don't think they are. I think that was their chance, and they're going to keep this same team, and it's just not going to be enough. And unless they do something, I don't think they're winning the division next year.
And you know what? I'll be honest with you real quick. That terrifies me, because if you think after 2 years with how young those players are that their door is now closed, and Philadelphia's door has now been slammed shut.
I don't agree. I don't agree now.
They have a bunch of young guys who are about to need to get paid soon.
No, dude, they're all under contract till like 2026, 2027, 2028, bro. The whole team is signed.
For the Braves?
Yes, go, bro. I'm telling you, go and look at it. Everybody on that team is under contract for the next 2-3 years.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Now you're getting more scouting reports on them, and the way they looked against the Phillies was not promising compared to what they should be showing.
That's because Daddy, obviously.
Well, obviously, but we'll see. It'll be fun. But we're gonna end it there. Real quick, picks for Thursday Night Football. Who do you got?
Ravens.
Cincy.
Yeah, I think Cincy's going to get this one back, and I'm going to go Bengals. I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm going to say 27-24 Bengals. Boom. Done. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Tell your friends,
Deuces.
tell your mother.
Took one.
You know what? We probably told her for you. Yo, listen up, let me introduce to you the highlight taking podcast. We bring the heat, is true. Hosted by David, Nick, and Christian. That's a crew. They drop knowledge and hot takes at the sports IQ. We dive into the game from hoops to gridiron, analyzing every play like we was the champion. With witty banter and humor, we keep it fun. HTP fam, we always bring the number one. Highlight taking podcast, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype. We not just blowing steam.